What is up, you guys? Welcome to the HotChaiPod, a podcast where we discuss all of our crazy B-Town celebs. I'm your host, Jazz, and we do actually have a lot on the docket today, just so we're clear. And it's been a crazy week for me. I have had a lot on my docket, I guess. So I don't know if I've ever explained my little process here, but throughout the week, I take notes on things that are happening in the industry and, things I want to talk about or something interesting, right? Or maybe I watched a show or a movie and I'm like, okay, let me take my notes. So then on Monday, put together a nice little outline of what we're going to discuss. Tuesday, record, and then edit, and it's up ideally by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. And I wasn't feeling well on Monday. I just wasn't. And so I was like, you know what? I'll do everything yesterday. So I put my little outline together. I set up my whole, situation here with the lights and the whatever. And I'm walking around the house. And I have my makeup on and stuff, so I don't look like a troll for you and scare people off. So I walk into my living room, basically. It's my living room for all intents and purposes. And I look, and I step in something really wet. I was like, what is that? Look up, there's cracks in the ceiling, and it's leaking. Okay, it's leaking. And I touch the ceiling, and it's all damp. And I kind of freak out. I'm sitting here about to record, whatever. I'm like, what is happening? Why is my ceiling all wet? Is there some pipe that's burst or something? And it's dark outside, by the way. So I'm looking around with my flashlight. So people had to come out last night to turn off all the water and try to minimize the leaking. And all night, I was just sitting up, kind of freaking out. What if my ceiling collapses into the living room? What if there's so much water and I just didn't notice because I didn't walk around in that room all day? How long was this leak going on, really? So I get up bright and early this morning, 5:30, and I was like, let me do this. Let's sit down. You know what? Here we are now. It's not even that late in the day, but I feel like I have lived many days in the last 48 hours. So everybody, welcome. We finally did that personal recap that we've been skipping for the past few weeks. So that's my exciting life. But we actually have a lot of very exciting Bollywood news today. So as you know, the Paris Olympics, big ordeal. Actually, a lot of Bollywood celebrities were there, but notably, I had my eye out on Abhishek Bachchan was there, and he was there solo. So no daddy-daughter trip happening over there. And fine, let him have a trip alone. Aishwarya and Abhishek went to New York alone, and yeah, that's not a great sign, right? I guess people continue to speculate and buzz a little, what is happening with them, and especially the past few weeks since the Ambani wedding and them coming separately and whatever. Obviously, which we've discussed ad nauseum. So Abhishek speaks to the press there, and I forgot exactly how it came up, but he says something like, oh, sorry, still married, and flashes his wedding ring. And I would say half the people are like, see, they're still married, and it's the well-wishers or the people who sit in gossip subs and say don't gossip and don't talk about people's personal life. It's this is a gossip sub. Why are you here? And then there's the other extreme of people who are going to Abhishek's Instagram, I guess, and filling it with tons of hateful comments and bro, you never deserved her and whatever. And I said the same thing. Of course I said the same thing. But I think it's very aggressive to go onto somebody's page and be hateful there. Because why? He'll see the hateful comments elsewhere. You don't have to do it on his picture from Paris, but it's the Bayhive, right? It's the Swifties or the Bayhive where you got your fans and they're ready to mobilize and they're ready to charge. And I do feel obviously Aishwarya Rai has so many fans and so many more fans than Abhishek Bachchan. And a lot of them, and I am one of her big fans too. That's one of my only biases that ever comes up here. And I think a lot of fans have been like, you know what? How dare you guys take Aishwarya for granted and mistreat her and make her miserable and like divorced or whatever it is, right? And like you never deserved her. And like, yeah, it's all true. That's all true. But it's just interesting to like go and write it on someone's Instagram because like if I thought that about like a friend, like and like her boyfriend like dumped her, I don't think I'd like go on his page and be like, you never deserved, Daniela. I don't know. But I I I guess all of that culminated in Abhishek turning off his comments on Instagram, which is kind of hilarious. And it's kind of sad, but it's mostly funny. And I think what else has been fueling this fire is that because this has continued to be in the news and will continue to be in the news, uh, a lot of old clips are coming up, which we talked about some clips last week, more about Abhishek himself. But I think the popular clip that's been circulating this week is when Jaya Bachchan went on Coffee with Karan and she's talking about like what she loves about Aishwarya as a Bachchan Bahu. And they're like, oh, I think it's right when they got engaged, maybe. And Karan Johar asks her, like, oh, so, you know, is she the perfect Mrs. Abhishek Bachchan? Okay, is he the perfect Mr. Aishwarya Rai? But it's fine. Whatever. Let's keep going. And Jaya Bachchan responds like, yes, she's perfect. I love that she stands behind us and like she doesn't, you know, speak. She like, takes it all in and she listens. Basically, like, to summarize, she knows her place. You know what? I understand it's an old interview, but every time I see it, I'm like, God, that is so annoying. Like, are you projecting your own stuff from your marriage, like onto all this where it's like, yeah, my husband wanted me to like stand behind him because he was the superstar. So it's so nice that like this global icon Aishwarya Rai is doing the same thing for us. It's enough. It's enough. Please escape. And also, by the way, just because homeboy says, "Oh, we're still married," but are you separated? Like your sister, who's separated obviously from her husband, doesn't live with him, but is not divorced and like shaming the family. Whatever. I don't know. We'll continue to keep an eye on this with our investigative journalism here at the Hot Chai Pod. Some other we got some other Bollywood folks in Europe this week, and notably, Mr. King Khan himself was in Switzerland for the Locarno Film Festival, where he was receiving an award. It's called the Pardo alla Carrera. Don't, don't light me up. Shark also didn't know how to pronounce it, by the way, when he gave his speech. So it translates to Career Leopard Award. And I guess he's the first Indian personality to receive it, which is, it's a BFD. And I think he deserves it, of course. He's King Khan. He's dominated the sphere. He's been here for decades. He had this big comeback the past couple years. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, it's like a lifetime leopard, right? Lifetime career leopard. I might actually have thought that maybe Amitabh Bachchan could have received something like this as like if it's going to be like the first Indian personality because he was just he was like such a trailblazer icon, especially at the time, and he had all these back-to-back like huge blockbusters and hits, and everyone was trying to be Amitabh Bachchan and like be the angry young man. And the fact that he's still working today and he was just in Kalki, right, which was like a big film, he's still doing a lot of great work. Like his career has not gone away. But I can understand, I'm sure with Patan and Javan, which were just like so big that it probably even made a little bit of a splash in Switzerland. And I know that people are watching it there because I know that even we have some hot chai teacups in Switzerland listening. So hello, you guys. I love your chocolate. And I love your grassy backgrounds for Bollywood songs. And actually, I do want to go to Switzerland. But yeah, what can I say? I'm not mad. It's better Shah Rukh Khan got it than someone else. So now getting into some box office catch up, some box office news. We were right here that the hype is very real for Shraddha Kapoor and Rajkumar Rao's sequel, Street 2. So the pre-booking is breaking records, I guess. I think it's out 40 crores, like pre-booked or something. I think that is a testament of the phenomenon of like a sequel. And people really loved the first one. And it's kind of giving me like the same hype vibes of like when Bul Bulaya 2 came out with Karthik Aaryan, everyone was like, oh my god, I remember the first one, and like excited, and like you have the cool songs and stuff. And I have to mention, I haven't seen the first three, which is surprising. But I just think back when it came out in 2018, like it didn't really catch my attention. I think the genre, and at the time, I don't think I cared really about Shraddha Kapoor, but now I definitely am going to watch the first and the second, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Unfortunately, what all this advanced booking means is that the two other big releases happening, so Akshay Kumar's Kel Kel Main and John Abraham's film Veda with Sharvari, they're kind of not catching as much attention. And I don't know how well they're going to do with that kind of competition, the three of them. But you never know. You never know. I saw some positive reviews for Akshay Kumar's film, surprisingly, shockingly. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens this week. In other news of kind of hypey releases, Tripti Dimri, I think it's her first film, and Avinash Tiwari, whatever. Their movie, Leila Majnu, I have not seen it, but it had re-released in Kashmir like a couple weeks ago, and it was received so well that they actually went ahead and decided to release it all across India again. So it's an Imtiaz Ali film, and I think it's really smart to be doing this like re-release strategy, because now, you know, she was a newcomer then, Tripti, but now she has a lot more eyes on her and a lot more followers and fans, and so why not kind of capitalize on that and let people enjoy this film, because it did get, the people who have seen it love it, and like critical acclaim, and I've been seeing a lot of content being made about it now. Yeah, so I'm excited to watch it. I don't know where I'll be able to see it. It'll probably just be online for me, so I'll keep you posted on that. I think what I am seeing is a lot of fanfare about their chemistry as like an on-screen pair. People like Tripti and Avinash together, and specifically people are liking Avinash, and they're saying he's like a new chocolate hero, and like, why can't he get more movies, and he's so talented. I'm gonna have to watch to make my decision, because I don't know, judging from the photos alone, if I'm gonna do it justice. Okay, so let's talk about what I've actually seen then. I finally sat down and watched Haseen Dilruba and Phir Aayi, Haseen Dilruba, that came out last week. So it came to Netflix. So if you don't know, Haseen Dilruba has Tapsi Pannu, Vikrant Massey, and the first one had Harshvardhan Rain in there as well. Hello. Let me just say about that man, Harshvardhan. I don't know. Is it because I saw Savi like the week before, so he's in that, right? He's not like my exact type, really. But then the more I watch him, I'm like, maybe he is my type? Like am I sure? Do I just like that he's like a villain? Like he plays like this like bad boy? I don't know. So you guys know me by now. I start Googling. I start sleuthing, like, who is this man? Who is this actor? What else has he been in? AKA, where else can I watch him? Turns out he's single, if anyone cares. So yeah, it might be time to watch a few of his movies one of these lonely weeks. Oh, also, fun fact, he is doing his degree in psychology. So What I'm hearing is that we're a perfect match.
We used to go out at night. He's like, wipe that off. Wipe that off because he loves.
But I digress. Okay, I'm back. I'm back to the movie. So, should I spoil the first one? I'm going to spoil the first one. And I'll put a timestamp in the description here. So if you want to skip ahead to the sequel discussion, in which there won't be any spoilers because it's new. So, okay. The first Haseen Dilruba, very spicy. It was a very spicy thriller. Had a bit of like a film noir vibe, I would say. And the movie, it kind of starts out pretty ordinary with like, okay, here's a hot girl, and then she gets kind of put into this like arranged marriage with a guy who's totally whatever. And that's where the boring part ends. So I have to say that it was fun to watch the movie. It was unexpected, very twisty, turny, but I guess that's obviously what a thriller is. But a lot of times they're just not done that well. And so she's in the movie, she's hot. He kind of like is low key obsessed with her, but you can't tell. And it's fun to watch her. Like she's like refusing to cook for him. She's refusing to make tea. And her like in-laws are like, where did we find this girl? And false advertising. And then on the other hand, the husband, played by Vikrant Massey, he's kind of like refusing to hook up with her. It was like a refreshingly toxic relationship. I don't know. And it's portrayed as boring, right? It's portrayed as like this is a boring relationship. So not toxic. And then in walks his bad boy cousin, played by Harsh Vardhan. And yes, predictably, Topsy and him start having an affair. You know, what one won't do, another will. Just kidding. And then in the movie, they're hooking up, it's fun, whatever. So then he ghosts her because obviously he's not dumb. Like he's not going to cause issues in his own family. And he's got a roster of some other ladies to entertain. So she's heartbroken, she's feeling guilty, and she tells her husband, like, oh, I was having this affair, like, you should know. And obviously, he doesn't react well, and he's like totally losing his shit about it. But now she has the hots for him. So I was right. That's a toxic relationship. Okay, you know, like this girl cheats on you, and now you like are super into it. I don't know. I actually had a friend in college, and she had cheated on her boyfriend a few times, but she was caught. Like he had seen her on like the Find My Friends app. Like she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm at my parents' house," but she's like at this other guy's house, and he stayed with her. And she's telling me this, and I start laughing, and I was like, "This guy, like, is he crazy? Why would he stay with you? You've got to want a little bit better for yourself." And she's like, oh, "How dare you? Like, it's called loving someone with your whole heart." Okay. We stopped being friends actually after that because I was like, I don't think you like live in the real world. But anyways, maybe she inspired this movie because that's basically what happens now. So Vikrant Massey becomes obsessed with Taapsee Pannu, his wife now. And then someone dies at the end. And I'll leave it there. To me, very fun thriller because I didn't see the ending coming. And I was reading some reviews afterwards, and many people were like, oh, the movie was so predictable from the trailer. And let me just say, you guys, this is why I don't watch trailers. I stand by that. Enough. Like, people don't make they make a good trailer because they're trying to entice you to watch it, but that means they're putting the best part of the movie in the trailer. So anyways, rest assured then, I took a 15-minute break, grabbed my hot Cheetos, and it's ready to put the sequel on, okay? So I put on Phir Aayi, Haseen Dilruba. I'm ready to get sucked back in, and it just didn't do it for me this time. And no, it wasn't because I was tired of watching. I can sit for hours and hours and hours, but this time, I don't know. I think that the sequel felt a little bit more predictable to me. So this just came out, right? And it has Vikrant Massey and Taapsee Pannu again. And now it has Sunny Kaushal. And It was, I don't know. It was a bit more Bollywood twist kind of movie versus like film noir. And I'm gonna be mean. Sunny Kaushal, I don't know. I don't know that I need to see him. I'm sorry. That's mean, maybe, but it's just like it's a letdown. Like I had just watched Harshvardhan Rain, and I was kind of like, "Oh, this is hot," it's spicy, and it's a different role in this film. And so in that way, like Sunny Kaushal kind of fit the role better for this sequel, but I just kind of felt like between his presence and then the plot being a little obvious, and then I felt like in this movie, Taapsee Pannu's acting was like a little less raw than maybe the original film. I don't know. I don't need to see Sunny Kaushal. I don't need to. I know it's mean, but Vicky's good enough for me. I think this is how I felt like you got some siblings, right? There's always going to be one that's the star. You don't have two stars like that, of any kind of caliber like that. It's Shahid Kapoor and Ishan Khater. They're both talented, but Shahid Kapoor is the star. I think more stark of a contrast was actually like this is how I felt about Salman Khan's brother, Sohail Khan, when he was trying to be in films and Maine Pyar Kyun Kiya and whatever. I was like, bro, I see the resemblance. I see what you're trying to do here. And I'm going to just have to pass on this version. What's funny is actually I saw Sohail Khan in person, and he was actually very good looking. But the silver screen is something different, and you have to have a different kind of presence. And like, oh, we couldn't get Vicky Kaushal for this movie, so let's put Sunny Kaushal in. Like, I don't know, is that just me? Like, you guys tell me. Do you like Sunny Kaushal? Is he underrated? Am I being just like a hater, which I am, obviously? I guess Haseen Dilruba is very femme fatale, right? And today we're gonna keep that going because we have some hot chai this week that kicked off with Sobhita Dhulipala's engagement to actor Naga Chaitanya. So why femme fatale, right? Well, you tell me. You tell me, because I've gone a little bit down the rabbit hole reading about these two. And as a recap, so Naga Chaitanya was married to Samantha Ruth Prabhu, and then they got divorced. And if that's not sounding familiar, she had come on Coffee with Karan with Akshay Kumar like a couple seasons ago, and she kind of discussed, getting divorced and how she doesn't want to get married and she's happy single and whatever. So rumor has it that Naga had been cheating on Sam, even though he has a lot of fans who say the opposite, right? And they're like, oh, she was cheating. But she just like watching her interviews and like she just seems so hurt talking about it that like, was it her? I feel like it was him. So what also added fuel to the fire is right after they got divorced or whatever, her stylist or like her makeup artist posted on his Instagram and was like, he's yours now, slut. And Glam Squad doesn't lie. Okay, that was in 2021, I think. So then in 2022, it comes out that he's dating Sobhita. And there's some photos of them, I think, in Hyderabad or something, like on a trip. And so then people are like, wait, is she the homewrecker? Like, was he cheating with her? Is this why they're together now? And, I hate to burst all of our bubble because, I like it juicy, I like it spicy, but I don't think that Sobhita was the other woman or whatever. Like, I don't know if it had happened then because Samantha and like her close friends or cousin or something have followed Sobhita and been like liking her posts. I don't know anyone who's that gracious. Let me just be very honest. And it does beg the question, is Sobhita making the right choice? I don't know. I heard Naga and his family are like crazy, filthy rich. So maybe, get that bag. I don't know. Or he's changed, but the way I get conflicted, like people changing, did they? Can they? But Sobhita does seem to have his father's blessing, maybe a little too much, because apparently before they got together, Naga Chaitanya's dad was saying that he had seen Sobhita's films and that she was so hot. I quote, so hot. I guess it runs in the family then. And I will say, not to be mean, but Naga is not that hot. I know, it's mean. Here I am. I've been mean today. I'm on a roll. Maybe it's the ceiling leaking here. Something in the air. But I know there's more to life than his looks, and there's also all his family's money. So I'm kidding. Kind of. I think the other thing that got Samantha's fans super angry was that this engagement between Naga and Sobhita happened on 8/8. And apparently that's when Samantha had proposed to Naga. And so I went and tried to research this, and I can't really find confirmation of this anywhere online, which means A, it didn't happen, or B, it's been scrubbed. Dun dun dun. How can a bunch of people be this wrong, especially her fans? I feel like they would know. But more importantly, did she actually propose to him? How is he landing these baddies? Okay, Samantha, Sobhita, these are some dime pieces. So now Naga and Sobhita get engaged on the same day, 8/8, as he and Sam. But then I see these articles come out. They don't say it's not true. These articles don't say it's not true. It just has these long-winded paragraphs, and it's the same for the multiple articles I saw. It's obviously a prepared PR statement about how 8/8 is spiritually very significant for Naga and Sobhita, and it's because of the Lionsgate portal and transformation, whatever. And don't get me wrong, I manifested as well on 8/8. But maybe, if that date didn't work for you the first time, I don't know. I think people are just kind of quick to try to resolve a mystery of oh, so if he cheated, who did he cheat with? Oh, it must have been Sobhita because I don't know. Here she is now, and it's a lot can happen in a year, in 2 years, and it doesn't have to be the same girl. It doesn't even have to be one girl. It could be 10 girls. You never know. And maybe we're all just taking her role in Made in Heaven. We're taking it a little too much to life, but hopefully it works out for them because she deserves it. I'm a fan of Sobhita. And with that, teacups, we are into our teacup time. And I have an interesting question from a listener. Thank you. And by the way, submit on the forum on HotChaiPod.com, or you can DM me on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, send in your questions, or if you disagree with me about something, or if you have some tea yourself, this person sat next to me at a restaurant and they ordered Caesar salad. Hey, I'm curious. I think we'd all be curious. It doesn't have to be life-changing. So today's question is, Jazz, you haven't been talking a lot about the non-Bollywood shows or movies you've watched like you did in the beginning. Are you just busy, or is that discontinued moving forward? Oh, you know what? This was on my mind because I have realized that as well, that I used to be oh, I watched this, this random show that came out, or I watched this English movie. I went to the theater, but do people want to see that? You tell me, I guess. I might put out a poll, do people care about the non-Bollywood stuff that I'm talking about? Because I just want to keep it focused, and if you're here to get your Bollywood news, then why am I blabbing about the other stuff I've watched? It's not, is it really that helpful or interesting? But I'm open to ideas if, maybe we should do a recap segment, or which we kind of just did for Haseen Dilruba. And so I actually quite enjoyed that. And maybe I can also start to prep in advance and be oh, this is the movie we're going to talk about this week. So people can watch it and listen to that, so then it's not a spoiler. But otherwise I'll just keep doing the timestamp stuff. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to seeing how this evolves, or maybe I'll bring in a couple guests or something and have some very specific topics. I have some ideas, so we'll see how we keep this fresh. So yeah, it's always open to growth and change, and it's only episode 13, lucky number 13, and yeah, let's see how we can make this interesting for everybody. So with that, thank you guys for writing in. Thank you guys for listening, and make sure you join in on the conversation on Instagram. It's actually a lot of fun. I see a lot of funny comments, and Like the poll questions crack me up. Honestly, even though I'm putting the polls out, the answers crack me up. And yeah, keep on keep on hanging in there and having a good week. And until next week, bye.